Hi, welcome back to part 3 of the Houghton House. Today we're going upstairs to talk with the designers Roz and Kris about why they made the choices they did in the house. So stay tuned.
Ready? Okay. When we first came into this house, this room was actually my favorite room in the house, but it really didn't have a purpose. It had a sort of a closed desk over here. I don't even remember what was here, maybe another table. It really wasn't set up to be used in any way, but what appealed to me was this angled fireplace and this color. I think we both really loved this color. And so it's also very calming because this is sort of what could be part of the master suite. A really large bedroom, a bathroom, and this sitting room. And so we decided to kind of keep that color scheme and make it a soothing, you know, kind of monotone light space. So we used this Sheraton sofa in this olive green, which I really love this color, and a low chair to keep everything low and in the same color family. And then just a long footstool, because this is, I could imagine if I was living here, where I would want to maybe have my coffee and read, or, you know, spend my early mornings and my late nights. So we just wanted to make it comfortable. And I also really love the wood in this room and keeping the natural elements. We got this pottery light, which I really like, and kind of mimicked the gradation and between the wood and the white, and just kind of, you know, keeping it light. But even though this is a simple piece, to me this actually kind of made the room and the finishes, because it was another natural element that was different than wood, in the same color tones, and just something different that you're not going to see in the rest of the house or in other houses. And I feel like every room needs one of those, maybe.
Something unexpected.
Something unexpected, but simple. So anyway, and then this was here when we came, and I really love it because it's in the same tone, and it's just really beautiful. And so we, I think, moved a couple of pieces that were already here in the house to keep in the same style as this. And then we have a joint stool, which I actually think this is a reproduction joint stool. Do you agree? Yeah. A reproduction joint stool that I got at an auction. And then another one of our reproduction rugs, which we used several in this house in different styles, to just make a calm space.
It's beautiful. It's very calm. It's I love all the natural colors, the natural hues. So your reproduction rugs, are they something you can just get normally, or are they something you get special?
So you can. They're actually rugs that are all available online. We also do sell them in our store, because we've kind of curated a collection of really affordable rugs that are a little bit transitional, but can go with our furniture and can fit into early houses.
Wow.
And they're, most of all, they're comfortable and easy to clean, which I love. I mean, I have kids and pets and a busy house, and so it makes a difference to me to have newer rugs rather than old rugs. But right. I know that a lot of people prefer old rugs, which are also beautiful.
How do you decide what rug to go in your space? What criterion are you using for that?
I'm making a mess. I mean, for me, I think I start with the mood and the color. I really love the hooked rugs. I love the handmade hooked rugs. I love wool rugs. I think the material is important because, again, I just want it to be easy to clean and durable. So I pretty much, I think in almost every room in my house I have a wool rug, and I try to use wool rugs as much as possible, except where, you know, they're not available for a functional need. But I think the material is important, the color to go with whatever mood you're creating. This is really subdued. We wanted something simple and subdued, but at the same time, you want something that has a little bit of pop that's a contrast to your dominant color. So I love how this has both in it. It has the gray and the olive green, but it also has a little bit of the gold that we've used in all the other rooms, and a little bit of a bright reddish orange that really pops off of the green and also makes the green seem a little bit less dull and more vibrant just by having that little tiny pop of color and contrast. So so I think sometimes it's also fun to get a couple of rugs for a couple different spaces and move them around. And if you can get a rug that will fit, you know, more than one room in your house, you can play with it in those different areas and it will probably change the room significantly.
Good tip. Good tip. Anything you want to add to this, Kris?
I know one thing we tried to do with this room also is to make it, because the only bathroom is here and it's so close to the master, we wanted to be able to make this space a place that the other rooms feel comfortable coming through to go to the bathroom, and make it sort of a joint space where kids might be able to do homework and sit and relax or watch TV or whatever.
That makes sense. Good. Good.
Yeah, and I also think that if you have the space in an upstairs of a house to make a sitting room, you will use it. And I think it's nice to have that.
It's very nice. I want to stay right in this room.
So here we are in the largest bedroom. This is the 20 by 20 room that is above the tavern room downstairs. And this is a great room because it has the original plaster and the original paneling, which was really preserved because there had been walls built over it at some point, and so everything was really pristine. And so Robert Adam, the restorationist, actually found these panels in a shed and was able to figure out where they went and reconstruct them. And so we have this beautiful wall paneling, but it would have been a little bit different, but because they had to install this fireplace later, they had to cut apart the paneling to do that. And so there's this piece that's a little different, and you'll see that in another way in another bedroom where they had to modify the wall further. But this wall of paneling is great in the bedroom. It's a really warm space, and there's a little hidden closet here. And there's some more little cabinets here. And wow. And this was also a very big open space when we came here for the first time. And we really wanted to figure out how to work with the scale of this room. And we thought about a couple different configurations, but came to this one because it really allows a distinct space for a sitting area. And by the way, we can hide a radiator that way with our sitting area. And then has a lot of open space too, between the fireplace and the bed, and I think that's okay. I think this serves as a walkway from the different entrances, but I also actually liked the open space here, and I think sometimes that's really nice. So we made it open, but we really didn't we kept the scale appropriate for this space, I think. And then Kris had the great idea to put these portraits on this wall, which really makes the room, I think.
They're fantastic on that wall. Yeah. So what made you put them on that wall as opposed to the wall over the bed?
We went back and forth on it because we were going to put the bed in a different direction, but the posts don't fit under the beam. So we had to rethink things, and it just worked there.
It does.
It also reminds me actually of your minimalism video a little bit.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that look. And I am kind of a portrait freak. I love portraits. And I think sometimes people put them in rooms and have a lot of other things around. But I think having just portraits sometimes, the simplicity of them, they're so dramatic on their own, and again, really meaningful from a space. So to have them be the main focus feels right.
Really does. I mean, if we look around this room, right, there is nothing else on these walls.
It's really all the paneling, the plaster, and the portraits.
Yeah.
And the plastering here is the original plastering.
Wow. All original. So it's, and also I will add that we did really intentionally install these simple crewel swags on the windows, because again, it's understated, but even though it's subtle, those become such a big part of the palette of the room and the mood. And so I feel like those become another piece. If you didn't have those, again, I think this whole space would be really, really different.
Yeah, and all the texture on the floor too. That's really great.
Yeah, again, monotone, so you have another layer and you're adding some depth, but we didn't want to have another pattern because it would have taken away from all these other textures that are so beautiful in this room.
It's so rich. And yet you have a little teeny pattern in the coverlet at the bottom of the bed. Just a little, just to bring that green in from the other room, and then the gold.
And then another cool, yep.
Yep. Beautiful. Great job. We were looking for a cradle like that when we had our first baby.
Yeah.
Never found one.
I think that might have been the one that I slept in when I was a baby. I'm not sure, but it could have been the one.
Wow.
That's cool.
We went to Amish country, went to every little farm we could find.
That is true.
Yeah, it is true.
But the search is just as much fun as
It was
actually
so much
getting
fun.
the piece.
Yes, yes.
Why do you even
Yeah.
talk about making?
This room is beautiful, and I love this portrait also. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and this table, this would be more like a pilgrim's kind of table, right?
Yeah, that would be an English table.
Okay.
We brought the portrait. The portrait was actually hanging on a wall when we came in, and just felt it tied the table down better and made a little separate area, accenting the paneling.
So in addition to making custom furniture, we also do a lot of interior design, and it's a real treat to work in a house like this where there are so many original details to play off of. And so I think that's kind of what we have tried to do in each room, is have those original details in this particular house be the focus of each room. So everything is really understated. In this room, we didn't do a lot. This was actually, most of the stuff was actually here. We moved things around to make sense of what was here because the curtains were here already. And so we brought in some of the red accents. We kind of moved some lights from other areas of the house that would work in here. We added this runner to be a little bit of contrast again and a little bit of softness, but these are the widest boards in the house and we didn't really want to cover those up. And the paneling in here and the fireplace is really such a big character of the room. This paneling was actually the original, and the reason it's cut here is because they had to build the fireplace here. So when they did, they had to cut this paneling, and there were some pieces missing, so they built these in place of where there may have been other sections of paneling and then painted them. So that's why there's this break that's kind of unusual. It's because of that need to fit to destroy the wall to fit the
So
fireplace.
basically they jerry-rigged it and then tried to make it look pretty.
But this was original. So this was in the 1810 to 1835 remodel. And so in this latest restoration process, they did a lot of investigation and finding clues to figure out exactly, how this would have been spaced and fit and what the color would have been. And so they really feel that this is pretty much the way it looked at that point.
Okay. Wow. Very nice.
And when we first saw it, we thought, how unusual. Why did you paint those sections in the middle?
Yeah.
And again, then after hearing the reasoning from the people who did it, there's always a reason. And so what I really loved was hearing him talk about how through the process of working on the house, they figured out all the reasons the things were the way they were. That was to me the
Working
most,
off the evidence.
Right. Right.
the most fun and the most
I
interesting.
think he said on those he found half of the upper part and half of the bottom part stuffed inside, like it had used as a spacer or something, and that's how they were able to come up with the exact form.
Okay. This is another room with great paneling and a great fireplace. This room is another sort of pass-through with the stairs going down to the dining room. It's small, but what great paneling. And on this, you can notice there's a double bead, which is kind of unusual. Usually there's only a bead on one side. And Robert Adam was telling us a story about how there was an apprentice who was working on it, and they just said, just keep going, just bead all of it. And so this is kind of unusual, but really beautiful. And this goes around the entire room, which is really striking. This is also a room where, even though they did work on the floors, and they got under there and did a lot of structural work under the floors, they could have made them flat, but this is where one of those places where the owner wanted to have things be authentic as it had been, and decided to, although they were reinforced, they kept the slant. So it is kind of difficult to have some furnishings on this side of the room. And the restorationist called this the skateboard room because it was kind of moving all over the place with the slants. But it's a really beautiful space.
It is very cozy.
It really is.
And in here, we really, I think, again, went with a crewel that Kris created to lighten up the room from a lot of the paneling. And here we're using a rug that is actually an indoor-outdoor rug, but it really works in a space where the floor is less finished, because it is easy to clean. It mimics that kind of texture. It lets the floor stand out as the main focal point. And so we used that here, and we just moved around some of the owner's furniture. So everything in this room was really just sort of staged with their items.
It's beautiful. I love the crewel. That's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Wow. Look at the detail in that. And yet it's delicate. So it really gives you that juxtaposition against that wall, because this could be very masculine, you know? It's really pretty. Really pretty. And another portrait. I'm with you on the portraits. Love them. I don't think people appreciate these portraits as much as they should. You know, they were paintings of people. They were, you know, They
Yeah.
look at them and they go, oh, they're creepy. Why would you want them? But
I think that's the thing when you find them, it really is, they do feel significant because it feels like this is somebody. Who was this person? What's their story?
right.
And why did they sit for this portrait to be made of them? And what was the meaning for them? And then it was probably displayed in their home as a really significant piece. So I really love them, and they're hard to find,
Yeah.
good portraits.
Yeah. They really are.
Well, that was really interesting, but that is not all. More to come tomorrow as we tour the wings of the house. They're like the sheds, and you're gonna love this. And again, Roz and Kris will be speaking to us.